beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bettina, I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video, I'm bringing you my next update on my project Level Up project pan. I am currently on level number 5. So if you want to see how I'm going with my palette, stay tuned. But before we get into the video, if you are new around here and you love watching project pans or eyeshadow panning projects, make sure you subscribe down below. And without further ado, let's jump on in to the update. So for those of you that are new to Project Level Up, it was created by Sofie Alexandra. I will leave her channel link down below. The premise of Project Level Up is to focus on eyeshadows. It's an eyeshadow panning based project. What you do is you progress through the levels, and for each level there is essentially a panning challenge. So you start at level 1 and grab out a palette in your collection. For level 1, you need to use every eyeshadow in that palette at least once. And then the additional challenge is you need to hit pan on at least one eyeshadow in that palette. Once you progress to level 2, you need to use every eyeshadow in the palette twice, and you need to hit pan on 2 shadows, and so on and so forth. I'm currently on level 5, which means I need to use every eyeshadow in my palette 5 times, and I need to, in addition to that, hit 5 pans in my palette. I have also this year introduced an added fun element or an added challenge element to the project, and you guys actually get to vote on the palettes that I'm working on. So last month was change up time. Last month I progressed from level 4 to 5, and you guys voted on the Lisa Eldridge Cinnabar palette to be my level 5 palette. So all that being said, let's see how I'm going with this palette. I'm actually like shocked and very proud of myself and very surprised that I am making as much progress as I am, but let's see the palette. So this is what the palette's looking like. I don't know whether you can see, but we are seeing pan, which is very exciting. So let's go through the eyeshadows and let's see how much usage I've made and what we're up to with the actual project. So we're starting off with the eyeshadow Raw Sienna. So this is what the palette is currently looking like. So as you can see there, we are seeing some glorious pans, but also seeing like a ginormous pan. I'll try and insert a photo of what the palette looked like last month, but I've made incredible progress. I'm so proud of myself with this kind of progress. So going through, let's see how I'm going with my uses. So starting off with the color here, Raw Sienna. So this makes the first pan in the palette, and this is actually the first pan that I hit in this palette. I have used Raw Sienna 15 times. So I hit pan on it fairly easily. I think it might have been the 5 uses I had hit pan on this pan, because I had already used it quite a lot. It was kind of like the go-to reach for this palette every time I used it. So I've managed to hit pan, and I've also managed to expand the pan very considerably. So that makes the first pan in the palette. The next one moving along is Bronzite, which is this metallic here. Now, no pan on this one, but I think this might be one that I will eventually hit pan on. I'm currently sitting at 7 uses with this pan, and it is starting to get a dip showing, as you can see, but no pan as yet. I think in terms of pan on Bronzite, it's probably going to take me maybe like up around the 14, 15 uses before I hit pan on that one. Moving along, the next one is Fired Earth, which is the deepest color in the palette, which is this one here. And I don't know whether you can see, but there is the teeniest, tiniest little pan in the center there. I don't think it is big enough to see or show on camera just yet, but when I look at it, I can definitely see the pan starting to peek through. So this is one that I'm going to continue to work on just to try and expand the pan a little bit, because at the moment, I don't know whether you can really class it as a pan because it is so teeny tiny. I have used this one 12 times. And I've managed to, like I said, I've hit the teeniest, tiniest little pan on it, but I am going to continue to work on this one between now and the next update to try and expand the pan just ever so slightly. Moving down onto the next row, we have Lost Summer, which is this one here. Now I haven't been reaching for this one as much, and unfortunately I haven't even hit my 5 use goal on this one. I've only used this one twice, so I really need to pull my socks up when it comes to using this one. I need to use it 3 additional times before I'm able to even meet my usage goal on this one. Out of this whole palette, for me, this one, I really enjoy it, but it's just not a natural like gravitation for me. Out of all of the colors in this palette, it's just not one that I naturally gravitate towards. So it has been a little bit more difficult to get those 5 uses, but I'm sitting at 2. I need to use it 3 more times. I'll get there eventually. Moving across, we have the Deep Ochre, which is a velvet formula. This one I think was my 3rd pan that I hit. Now I hit pan on this one with 10 uses. It's only like a reasonably small pan, but I have been continuing to use it and I am expanding the pan a little bit. And last but not least is this beautiful color on the end here, which is Ritual. It is a top coat. Now I've hit pan on this one as well, and I hit pan on this one with 10 uses. So I actually was really surprised by this one. I think this one was the 2nd pan I hit. I think it went basically 1, 2, then 3, and 4. I was actually pleasantly surprised by this color here, Ritual. I didn't think that I would enjoy it, but I've actually really been enjoying it for just like every day, just like a really nice kind of shine across the lid for like natural work makeup. This palette has been a little beautiful godsend when it comes to work makeup. It's just made it so easy and effortless to just throw on and go, and it always looks beautiful. So definitely props to Lisa Eldridge for this formula. I think she's really nailed it with the formula. It's just a beautiful, easy, effortless makeup. And I am actually using this palette on my eyes today. So for my look today, I used Raw Sienna. I also used the Deep Ochre for Fired Earth. That's how I managed to get that teeny tiny little pan, and then Bronzite. And then on the inner corner for like the pop of blue, I used obviously a different palette. The blue does not come from this palette. In terms of my goals, obviously my goal is to get that last pan. So I want to expand the pan on Fired Earth, which is the deep brown one here. I want to expand the pan just a little bit, just so it's easier to see and it's not so hidden. So I want to expand the pan on that one. I want to hit my 5 use goal, so do 3 more uses on Lost Summer. And then I think Bronzite is going to be my 5th pan in this palette. So I don't think I'm too far off having level 5 completed. I think if I just really focus on Bronzite, if I use that regularly and consistently, I will have pan very quickly. If I could just like smash out maybe like a week or 2 of work makeup using this palette and Bronzite as like the shimmer, I think I will have my goal met very quickly. All that being said, I didn't think I would have this many pans in this palette so quickly. So I'm like 95% of the way there with the goals. So all that being said, I think it's time to do another round of palette picks from the collection, and you guys can vote out of those ones in the comments which palette you want me to work on for level 6. I am going to progress to level 6. I think level 6, I might call it quits and go back down to level 1, but I am going to be brave. I'm going to see if I can do it. Given that 5 has not given me much grief, I think it's only fair that I progress on to level 6. So let's grab out 4 palettes from my collection for level 6. I'm going to do my little random spin wheel. On my Tiny Decision app, I have all of the palettes in my collection that don't currently have any pans. Those are the ones I'm currently trying to work on to reach my pan in every palette goal. I will say for this particular round of level 6, I'm only going to randomly draw 3 palettes because there's one palette in particular that I want to throw in there, and I want to see if you guys vote for it. So I'm only going to grab out 3 palettes that don't have any pans, and then the fourth palette is going to be one that has pans. So let's see what three palettes the random gods give us. So first up we have the Melt Vita palette. I don't know whether I want to get 6 pans in that palette. It's like so pristine and beautiful. So we have the Melt Vita palette for palette number 1. Then we have for palette number 2, the Glaminatrix Sugar and Spice palette. Oh, I also don't really want to work on that one for 6 pans. And then lastly, we have for palette number 3, we have the Glaminatrix Glamorous palette. Okay, let me go grab those 3 as well as my mystery palette, and I will be back in a second. I'm actually kind of really interested to see what you guys vote for. Okay, so because they're all quite different. So I've got my 4 palettes. Let's see what we get. So 2 of the 4 are Glaminatrix palettes. I think because just the what's the word, like the odds now of me getting a Glaminatrix palette, because I only now have pan in one of my entire Glaminatrix palette collection, and I've got a lot. So the odds of like getting a Glaminatrix palette now is quite high, because the numbers of no pan compared to the entire no pan collection are quite high. So let's start off with the Melt Vita palette. I think that was the first one we rolled. So this one, I love this one. It's got the matching Muerte palette, which forms like the beautiful sugar skull. This is what it looks like. It's very bright. It's got like the reds, it's got a few neutrals, and then it's got like these limey green colors. And so this is what we're looking at for the Melt Vita palette. It has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it's got 10 pans in the entire palette. I would need to use every pan 6 times. And I would also need to hit pan on 6 shadows in this palette, which is a very daunting task. Melt eyeshadows traditionally can take quite a while, and a large portion of this palette is quite bright. So I think it would be very challenging for me to hit pan on 6 shadows in this palette. I don't know whether I can even do that. So this is the first option. Oh, that one will be a challenge if you guys pick that one. Next is the Glaminatrix Sugar and Spice palette. This one has a few shadows in it that I am not a great lover of. This one additionally has 15 shades in the palette. So I would need to hit pan on 6 of these shadows. A few of them, especially I think probably this matte row in the middle, I find quite challenging. So again, additionally, this would be a very challenging palette as well. I don't know how I feel about hitting 6 pans in this palette. Oh, these palettes that have rolled, they're quite challenging. So that's palette number 2 that you can vote on. That is Sugar and Spice, that one. The next one is the Glamorous palette. Now, out of all of my Glaminatrix shadows, or out of all of my Glaminatrix palettes, this is like up there with like one of my favorites. I just like the purple and like the teal green color story. So this is the Glamorous palette by Glaminatrix. This one has 12 shades in it, so I would need to hit pan on half of the palette. In saying that though, I think it would definitely be a challenge, but I think there's some, like Twinkle already has a bit of a dip. This one already has a bit of a dip going. So I think there's some in there that I could use quite regularly as well, like generous. Like I could probably use that one regularly for work. So although it's like bright, colorful, there's probably some in here that I could grab for regularly. There's probably also some that I could mix with like a matte brown or something like that to tone it down a bit to coordinate into like a work look. So that one is Glamorous. So those are the 3 random rolls. I don't know if you guys can guess which palette I'm going to bring in as like my contribution to these 4. But it is the Modern Renaissance palette. This palette I've actually included, and this is kind of a little bit why I thought that I would include it in the vote. This palette I have included in my plan to pan for 2024. I actually want to hit pan on the remainder of this palette, and fortunately for me, the remainder of the palette that doesn't have pan is 6 pans. So if you were to vote for this palette by the end of level 6 would have a pan in every single pan in this palette. And then when it comes to using each of the pans or the remaining pans 6 times, I think that would really allow me to expand some of these pans a decent amount. I think 6 uses on an eyeshadow that already has pan could potentially make the pan grow quite reasonably. So that's my argument for including this palette in this round of votes. So by all means, vote for whichever one you want to see. But we have, if we go through them again, we have Melt Vita, which is our like bright yellowy red green palette. We have Sugar and Spice, which is our like grungy color story. Glamorous, which was that like purple teal green color story. And last but not least, you guys all know what Modern Renaissance looks like. It's that very pinky warm toned eyeshadow. So those are the 4 that you can vote from. Cast your votes down in the comments. I'm very excited to see which palette you guys vote for level 6. I thought that you guys did me dirty with the Lisa Eldridge, but that has not turned out to be the case. So I trust you guys. So let me know down in the comments which palette you guys are voting for, because you guys seem to know what's up. Vote down in the comments. Let me know which palette you're voting for. I can't wait to see. I will reveal at the next update of this project which palette won. So if you want to see which vote and which palette wins the championship, then make sure you subscribe down below so you can get notified when the next update of this project goes live, and I will reveal all in that update. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Let me know how you're doing down in the comments. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, beautiful.